Hello everybody, this is the Love Yourself Guru and welcome to the Love Yourself TV and welcome to day 4 of the Guru's Ramadan series 2022. So let's begin. Today's word is generosity, and generosity is a virtue that I absolutely love. Now, if you look up the word generosity in the dictionary, you'll find that it's a quality of being kind and generous, and the opposite of generosity, the opposite of being generous, is being miserly, selfish, and living in a state of lack. And I had an Arabic teacher, God bless her, absolutely love her. She was my teacher, and she actually taught me how to read the Arabic letters, to read Quran. And she said to me, she said that she noticed that a person that was generous wasn't just generous with his or her money. A generous person was generous with their smiles, with their time, with their attention, with their love. So generosity, it went through every aspect of that person. They were generous with everything, and the opposite is true. A miserly person, she found that a miserly person would be quite miserly with his or her time, with their smiles, with their love, with their attention. So generosity, I find, is a quality that I love. I love to see that quality in people, because what I find is when you're not generous, okay, when you're not generous, and it's a habit that you can take up, by the way, you can actually attain the habit of being generous. But when you're not generous, you're actually living in a state of lack. So really, there's not enough of that. So I'm just gonna give the bare minimum, because I'm worried that what I have won't be enough, or a smile is enough. You don't need 2 or 3 smiles, or one compliment a year is enough. It's really living in a state of lack. Whereas when you're generous, okay, you live in a state of abundance, God willing, and then like always attracts like. So when you're generous and you're abundant, okay, that's what, God willing, will come to you. And when you're miserly, so if somebody, for instance, is miserly and doesn't really smile that often, well, he's not gonna, or she's not gonna get many smiles back. But a person that's smiling all the time and is generous with their smiles and generous with their love is going to get that back in return, God willing. So living in a state of generosity is really living in a state of abundance. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to live. Okay, so how do we live in a state of generosity? Well, the first thing, to live in a state of generosity, you need to move out of being in a state of lack. And how do you move out from being in a state of lack? Is you just look around you, and instead of looking and looking at what you've not got, you just start looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's generosity, at our Creator's generosity. Like, just look, if you just looked up this, it's sunny now, it's really sunny, so I can't do it, but mashallah, just look at the skies. Like the sky, our Creator has just given us this massive sky that you can't even see the end of it. Okay, that's how generous our Creator is. Yeah, our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He could have built us just a little sky and said, right, you live underneath there. But He didn't. Massive, massive, beautiful, amazing sky that changes colour. And each time you see a different color, and it goes darker and it goes lighter, with all these abundance of clouds. Look how generous our Creator is. If you just look at all the trees and all the leaves, and you just see how generous our Creator is. The rain that falls down, the sun that shines on our faces, it's just generosity to just another, it's magnificence, another level. It's just, our Creator is so generous. So the more you actually move away from looking at being in a state of lack and focusing on not on what you've not got, and you just focus on, subhanallah, look at all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look at our creator, look at his abundance of generosity, how generous he is. And then what to do is, every time you get something, like the other day we went before Ramadan, we went to have to eat. It's like our last dinner before Ramadan. I think we had a hamburger or something like that. I love food. The guru loves food. And I was just eating this hamburger and I was like, oh, alhamdulillah, I'm so lucky. Allah is so generous, so generous, so generous. And my husband was like, well, it's just I think he got a bit embarrassed. He said, it's just a hamburger. I said, no, so lucky. Allah sent me this hamburger. And so if you start looking at everything in your life, which is true, literally, your creator sent you everything directly to you. That was for you. That hamburger was for me. That was for me. And everything in your life, if you get into a state of looking at everything that this is from my creator's generosity, you will put yourself in that vibration. You will just start realizing how generous your creator is with you. It's just absolutely amazing. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is you start to be generous with the little things, which is smiling. Okay, and smiling's for free. It's free. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to do anything. It's free. And all you have to do is smile. Start to get into the habit of smiling. When you wake up in the morning, smile. When you go to sleep, smile. When you greet your family, let's say your wife or your husband or your children or your sister or your mother or your brother or your friend, whoever, smile, 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 smile. Look at yourself in the mirror. Don't frown at yourself. Smile. It's free. And be generous with your smiles, because it puts you in a state of happiness. It puts you in a state of gratitude. It brings on good things, God willing, God willing, God willing. So really be generous with your smile. So first is to actually acknowledge and be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's generosity, our creator's generosity. Number 2 is to be generous with your smiles. Number 3, especially in Ramadan, be generous with your good deeds. Be generous with your good deeds. So every time you can do a good deed, and a good deed, it could be as small as a smile, as small as giving a date, as small as saying a nice word, as small as, for instance, reading, reciting the Quran. Any good deed you can, be generous with your good deeds. Try to get as many good deeds as you can, God willing, because really, like, Ramadan is a boot camp. So what you do here, God willing, you're going to take it over to the rest of the year. So really be generous with your good deeds. And the next one is, yes, be generous with your time with your creator. Now, what I mean by that is, sometimes I actually fall into this category. So sometimes I'll have a lot of things to do, and then I'll go and do it. I'll do my ablution, I'll do my wudu, and then I'll pray. I'll just pray really quickly. I think the soul, my soul needs my creator. So I should really be generous with my time. My creator's been so generous with me. At least when I pray, be generous with that time and just do it properly. Do it properly, just like it's meant to be done, and be generous with my time. So that's a really, really important thing, being generous with your time. And then start to be generous with your conversations with people. So in your household, sometimes we take our household for granted and we don't give them, so they'll be talking to us, and then we'll be listening, but we'll be doing a million things at one time, and we'll just try to, just understand what they want from us, just to do it. Just be generous with your attention. Really, whoever is coming to talk to you, you must be so valuable that person actually came to talk to you. So your children, when they come to talk to you, you're so valuable that they came to talk to you. It's a sign of love that they actually came to talk to you. Stop what you're doing, and just make eye contact and be generous with the attention, because they came to you. And if you are genuinely busy, don't do half. Just say, listen, sweetie, let's say if your children, if you could just wait 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll give you my full attention. And then give them a specific time, and then go to them, and then just give them that attention. Be generous with your attention with your loved ones. And then also Be generous with your understanding. So really try to understand humanity. Like really try to understand where they're coming from. Be generous in your understanding, into taking the time to understand the people in your life. And what will happen, God willing, is that they'll take the time to understand you. And being generous with your words in Ramadan. Be very generous with your words, with your positive words. Be very miserly with your negative words. So try to not say anything negative, and be very generous with your positive words. And really, God willing, create really a beautiful environment where everybody is positive and everybody is generous with each other. You're generous with your time. You're generous with your you're generous with your creator. You're generous with your time. You're generous with the attention that you give to your loved ones. You're generous with your words. Really try to make it a time of generosity, and then that, God willing, will flow over to the rest of the year. I love you loads. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, kindly click on the like button and click on the subscribe button if you would like to listen to more videos. Have a beautiful, brilliant, amazing, wonderful, abundant day.